Hello! Today we're going to be looking at our Lesson 10 problem set. So we have our Lesson 10 problem set. So we have our lesson summary here. And we'll move right into the first question on our problem set. So this is about a graph. We have the Jaguar speed and time is in seconds and distance is in feet. So what does this point 5 to 90 represent in context of the situation? So that sounds difficult, but it's not. We just have to think about the words. So we know that points are x, y. We know this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So the 5 represents 5 seconds, and the 290 represents 290 feet. So this point represents 290 feet in 5 seconds. Wow, that's pretty quick. We have another one, very similar. What does this point represent in context of the situation? So this point would represent 174 feet in 3 seconds. Is the distance run by the Jaguar proportional to the time? So we can look at the graph and we see it's a straight line and it goes through the origin. So yes, this is proportional. Straight line through the origin. So for the equation, we're actually going to need to look and find the unit rate. Sometimes that's pretty easy from our graph, and sometimes we have to calculate. This one actually has our point 1r, which is 58. So 58 is the unit rate. The equation would be y equals 58x. Now, if that wasn't there, I could use a calculator, and I could do my y divided by x to get the unit rate. So I would do 580 divided by 10, 58. 290 divided by 5, 58. 174 divided by 3, 58. And 58 divided by 1, 58. Now if I do 0 divided by 0, I get an error because when you're dividing, the least number of groups you can have is 1. So when you try to divide by 0 or put your things in 0 groups, that's just not possible. That's why we have a divide by 0 error. Now, we'll move on to the next question. Champion t-shirts sell for $22. Championship t-shirts sell for $22 each. What point or points must be on the graph for the quantities to be proportional? Well, I would need to have the unit rate. So one, in this case, if they're $22 each, would be 122. I also have to go through the origin, so that's 0, 0. And there you go. Now, if we're thinking about this ordered pair, 5, 110, and context of the situation, so that means like in terms of the situation. So if one t-shirt is $22, this tells me it would cost $110 for 5 t-shirts. I feel like there's not quite enough room on this page, but we'll make do. How many t-shirts were sold if you spent $88? So I'm going to think about this. I'm not going to make a table, but instead I'm going to, I'll do it over here. 1 for 22. So how many for 88? The relationship here is times 4. The relationship here, it also needs to be times 4. So that would be 4 t-shirts. There are so many ways I could do that. That was just the way that I picked. I could write an equation and use an equation. I'm not going to go into all that right now. Okay, the graph represents the total cost of renting a car. The cost of renting a car is a fixed amount each day, regardless of how many miles are driven. Good deal. What does the ordered pair for 250 represent? So let me scoot that up some so you can see. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So, 4,250 is right here. And remember, your ordered pairs are x comma, y, and this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So that's 4 days, $250. So, I'm going to write that down here. $250 for 4 days. Okay. What would be the cost to rent the car for a week? So if we're thinking about a week has 7 days. If we're renting a car, we're probably on vacation, so we'll probably take 7 days. I don't know. But we'll do a 7-day week. So now I have to figure out how much it is for 1 day, so I can then figure out how much it is for 7. So what if I do, clear that out, 250 divided by 4, oh, that's 62.50, and look, that was right here. I could have just used that. So y equals 6250x. X is the number of days, and then y is the total cost, and this is our unit rate, how much per 1 day, 1 day cost. Okay, so if I'm talking about 7 days, that kind of got jumbled, sorry about that, I'll do y equals 6250 times 7. So let's do that. 6250 times 7, $437.50 is what y equals. Okay, there we go. Let's move on to the next page. Now we have a table. Let's see what we're trying to do here. Okay, Jackie is mixing snack mix for a party. She's using cashews and peanuts. Yum. The table below shows the relationship of the number of packages of cashews she needs to the number of cans of peanuts she needs to make the mix. Write an equation to represent the situation. So we have discussed many times, we have x and y, so we're going to do y divided by x to find our unit rate, constant proportionality. Now, here 0, 0 is the origin, so that's needed, but no, dividing there is not going to help us find any information because we're going to get that divide by 0 error. Okay, 2 divided by 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 3, 2. And 8 divided by 4, 2. So our equation would be y. To get to y, you do 2 times x. And if you look here, times 2 each time. Even here. Okay? Now, describe this ordered pair in context of the situation. So, 1224, remember an ordered pair is x comma y. So, that would be 12 packages of cashews and 24 cans of peanuts. All right. Last question. This one has quite a bit to do. Okay. Amount of candy in pounds and cost in dollars. So is the cost of candy proportional to the amount of candy? So we have x and we have y. We're going to do y divided by x and see if we have a constant unit rate. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. 7.5 divided by 3 is 2.5. 12.5 divided by 5, I don't know that one, 2.5. So, is it proportional? Yes. There's a constant unit rate, or constant of proportionality. The equation would be y equals 2.5 x. Using the equation, predict how much it will cost for 12 pounds of candy. So let's put our labels to make this real easy. So that's candy. This is the cost per pound of candy. Should probably put an extra 0 there since it's money. Okay, and then y is the total cost. Okay, so what's it say? Predict 12 pounds of candy. So I'll replace x because that's where the candy goes. I'm just going to add it to my table also just to kind of be organized. This was y divided by x there. Okay, so I'm going to do y equals 250 times 12 pounds of candy. 250 times 12 is 30. So that would be $30 for 12 pounds of candy. Now, what is the maximum amount of candy you can buy with $60? Okay, so I got $30 here. 60 is double that. So if this is 12, that would be 24. But let's use the equation. This is what I think it is. And now I'm going to check it with the equation. So this time I have the cost, which is the y value. This is my equation I wrote. And that's 250x. So to solve this equation, I'll divide each side by 250. Let's do that. 60 divided by 250 is 24. So 24 pounds of candy, which is what I got. Okay, 24 pounds. Put that here. LBS is the pound symbol. And then graph the relationship. So I actually pulled up a graph here. You have to think about using your information. What are you going to count by on this x-axis? What are you going to count by on the y-axis? But even before that, what goes here, which label goes here for the x-axis? And that's the amount of candy, and we labeled that on our graph. And then you have to think, okay, what goes for the y-axis? That's the cost, and we had that labeled as well. Then you just graph your points, and that's graphing the relationship.